Welcome back to the Redraft series where we go back in time, hop in the DeLorean, and try to do it better than the NFL did it. Because we're looking back in hindsight, and we're doing the 2017 redraft. Keep in mind, this is the draft order going into the draft. So any trades made during the draft, it ain't going to look like that here. So sorry, Chicago, you're not going to be jumping San Francisco in this scenario. It's going to be San Fran with the number 2 pick, and that does kind of matters when it comes to this redraft. But what's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So in a quick update, because y'all best know me as a draft channel, an NFL draft channel, though we are doing a redraft. But just a quick update when it comes to how am I going with my scouting thus far this summer, because this is when I do my deep dives into which college prospects I think are really gonna hit it off this year. And I've done quarterback, running back, receiver. I'm finishing tight end today, and then I'm just gonna jump to the defense because offensive line is the one I'm least, when it comes to evaluating, least confident in. So I want to save that till last, but I do want to jump back to because there's a lot of interesting quarterback prospects, and I think there's a lot of guys I still need to go through. So we're probably still like a month and a half away from getting to my my prospect ranking. So hey, it's gonna come slowly but surely. We are doing deep dives on the channel, like season predictions, how I think teams will fare, how do they look going into it for the NFL. So hey, check that content out. It needs some love. I know I posted a couple earlier this week, so check it out. But let's go ahead, get into the nitty gritty when it comes to doing this. I'm trying to draft the best players out of this class, but also I'm trying to keep it in mind what the teams needed at this time. And going to the Cleveland Browns, they're picking number 1 overall. And hold on, I haven't even started the draft. And this freaking team needed a quarterback more than anything, and holy crap, Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in this class. Easy. He's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Easy. Cleveland Browns would have loved to have him. We're going to be picking at 12 as well. So we're going to take Mahomes, not think a thing of it. Right, on to the San Francisco 49ers. In this case, we're not trading down with the Bears. Sorry, Bears would love to get their hands on a quarterback because quarterback class after this pick, it's kind of bad. But we're the Niners. We got Brian Hoyer. We got Matt Barkley going into the season. So we're going to go with Deshaun Watson, which might be a hotly debated one given what's going on with Watson. So again, I'm gonna wait till all that plays itself out. I'm not gonna have an opinion on it. You can have an opinion on it. That's fine. That's whatever. If you want to say something in the comments, I don't care. I really don't. I'm not gonna have that conversation with you. But Deshaun Watson is a hell of a quarterback. And obviously, in hindsight, if things get worse in the future for Watson, well, next year when we do this redraft series, because we do it every summer, then he ain't gonna get picked. It's as simple as that. But if you're the Niners, you're picking Deshaun Watson. Sorry, not sorry. Sucks for the Bears. Hey, we could go with Mitch Trubisky again, right? Bears would love to get a quarterback. Guess you're gonna have to just stick out with Mike Glennon, who they signed on 3 years, $45 million, but I think the way the contract played out, they could have got out of that contract after 1 year. So, yeah, the rest of the quarterback class isn't particularly good. So, I'm legit just going to take the best non-quarterback prospect in this class. And lo and behold, it is Myles Garrett. Yes, please. Jacksonville Jaguars. So, this is, I think they end up actually going to the AFC Championship game in this year. But the defense is still pretty dominant. Like, I was thinking TJ Watt, but that offensive line needed some attention, at least at the tackle position. Keep in mind, it was this draft that they grabbed Cam Robinson in the 2nd round. We're just going to say, screw that. Let's just go ahead and grab the best tackle in this class. And Ryan Ramczyk, who played left tackle at Wisconsin before moving to right tackle for the Saints. So that's cool. He can play either side. That's fine. We're going to go with Ryan Ramczyk. On to the Tennessee Titans. And I think currently, because TJ Watt is the guy on my mind, right? He is the guy on my mind. And what do they have? They have Brian Orakpo and Derek Morgan, I think. And they also got like Dodd, but he never really pans out. So like I don't mind like it's not like that edge rush duo. That Orakpo is basically at the end of his career. So let's go ahead and grab his heir apparent in TJ Watt. Again, I'm drafting good players. So this actually was the Jamal Adams pick. Not going to do that. Jamal Adams, good player. There's better players on the board. I'm sorry, not sorry. Secondary was atrocious. To be fair, this was a team with a lot of holes, but I want to address positions of value and cornerback, a very big position of value. I think their best corner on the team was Morris Claiborne. So I'm going to go with who I think the best corner in this class is. It's up for dispute, but I love Marlon Humphrey. The dude can play in the slot, and he can play on the outside. He gives you the versatility in that regard. Sign me up. By the way, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. And the popular thing now to do on YouTube, if you really support the channel, is to share the video. So go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead, get back to the nitty gritty. On to the Superchargers. So this squad, they ended up taking Mike Williams, which I don't blame them. They have Keenan Allen, and that's it. And I think Keenan Allen gets hurt this season. Because if you remember, like I think it was like the first two of the first 4 seasons, he had like season-ending injuries in the season opener. So I want to grab someone that could complement our boy. I also did think about going with tackle because they needed some tackle help as well. But I'm going to lean on receiver because there's actually some good receivers in this class. And I'm actually going to go with... This was a toss-up. Cooper Kupp, which it just felt too similar to Keenan Allen. Instead, I went with Chris Godwin. Big fan of Chris Godwin. Carolina Panthers. They got Curtis Samuel in this draft. So sign me up for Cooper Kupp. He's going to pair up with, I think... Who are the receivers at the time? Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess. Yeah, they had no weapons for Cam. Let's get a weapon for Cam by the name of Cooper Kupp. I don't know what his middle name is. All right, going to the Bengals. Basically, the tackle position is horrible. So this is where I'll probably go back to the tackle position. And, man, Taylor Moton's really good. But I'm going to go with Garrett Bowles. Like, after he got passed, like he was a really flagged heavy tackle early in his career. Like the dude was racking up like 15, 17 penalty years. And now, like, honestly, that was really the Achilles heel to his game. And now he's gotten much better about that. Like the dude's extremely good. He's always been good. Let's just get protection. We're going with Bowles. On to the Buffalo Bills. Listen, I know that they were able to get White at pick 27. He's not going to be there at pick 27. This is the pick so nice. We're going to do it twice. I'm going with White. There we go. And I would say he is probably the next corner on my board. Lattimore makes it close. All right. On to the Saints. They have 2 picks in this class. This sucks because... they're not going to come out with the same class that that they ended up drafting in because they got Ryan Ramczyk, they grabbed Alvin Kamara, they got Marcus Williams, they got Marshawn Lattimore. Like a lot of those guys are going to go in this draft. Sorry, it's a redraft. That's what happens. So what do I want to do with this? I was like, you know what? I want to just... I kind of want to get a weapon for Drew Brees because I kind of want to get greedy here. I want to get a guy that's like a top 2 player to his position. Currently, the Saints at this position, they have a guy who ends up retiring after he's released in, who was it? Kobe Fleener. Sign me up for George Kittle. Oh, little Gojo over here is asleep. So George Kittle might be a little greedy. It might be a little greedy, but I want to do it. All right, so this is our second pick for the Cleveland Browns. And, oh, golly gee. You could really go with a plethora of options. I thought about receiver, but I really, there's not. Like, Mike Williams is probably the next best guy, and I think I'm fine with passing on that. Like, offensive line help wouldn't be bad. It's more so tackle help. And we're talking Taylor Moton, who was an actual consideration here. But the defense is horrible. There's a reason Myles Garrett was the first pick. Unfortunately, at, like, the edge position, I think we're talking, like, Carl Lawson, Trey Hendrickson. So let's go to corner because their cornerback position's bad too. Like, real bad. Safety was bad too. And I considered taking safety here too. But Marshawn Lattimore is just, he's very good. Very aggressive corner, but a very good corner. So you get Mahomes and you get Lattimore, Browns. Hell yeah. All right, on to the Cardinals. So the Cardinals, was looking around. They got Sam, or no, I think it's Carson Palmer they currently have. Let's see, 2017 Cardinals roster. They're trying to tell me the St. Louis Cardinals. No, it was Carson Palmer. But like looking at the roster, like literally. Okay, buddy, wake up, go Joe. I can't have you sleeping and moaning in my video. Sorry, buddy. It's my dog. If you don't know, if you're new to the channel, it's my boy Gojo. He is a mainstay of the channel. But looking at the card, like, we could go with Jonathan Allen here. We could go with one of the safeties, because keep in mind, this is a hella good safety class. Adams. We got Budda Baker, Marcus Williams, Marcus May, Eddie Jackson, John Johnson, even Xavier Woods. Not that he would be actual, like, consideration, but, like, just saying, like, there's a lot of talent in this safety class. But I ended up just going with Taylor Moton. Their right tackle position, there was really no one there. And it's kind of a drop-off at tackle after Moton, if you look at it. Like a bad drop-off. Like a really bad drop-off. Like, legit. No one of note. Cam Robinson, probably the best there. So, no thank you. Give me Moton. Even looking at the interior, we're talking maybe Deion Dawkins actually would probably be in consideration. But he ain't on the level of Taylor Moton. He just ain't. I'm just seeing if there's any, like, guards move to tackle, which kind of a rarity, but it does happen. Yeah, no. All right, on to the Philadelphia Eagles. And this one, if you're not new to the channel, you know I'm not much for the running back position. I'm not a fan of drafting running backs early. But I was looking at this Eagle roster, and they're kind of really good, and the positions available, I was like, yeah, or maybe I could get a running back. It's like, there's a lot of depth. Like, if I draft really any other position here, it's kind of like, well, that guy's not really going to see the field. So maybe I just take a shot at running back, because there are hella good running backs here. Like, we're talking like CMC, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon. Makes you think you could just go with one later on in the draft. But I'm just going to go ahead and get my pick here. I'm going to go with Dalvin Cook. He brings a lot to the table here. And I don't feel great about that at 14, but also keep in mind you're getting like a top 5, top 10 running back, I guess. But legitimately, like, I guess safety may have been the position I probably could have went, but I ended up going Dalvin Cook. What can I say? Like, it's a very good team with very little needs. All right, on to the Colts, and this pick was all about Andrew Luck. He is there at the time, so best believe I want to go either offensive line or wide receiver. And it's really there was no one on the offensive line I was like wild about here at 15. So instead, I decided to go with someone that would pair really well with T.Y. Hilton in Mike Williams. All right, we're on to the Baltimore Ravens, and this is where safety goes. It took 16 picks, and honestly, they probably should maybe went a bit earlier, but like this class is actually pretty good. There's a lot of good players in this draft class, but this is where I'm going to go safety, and I'm going to go with the player that they end up signing this offseason in Marcus Williams. To me, he is the best safety in this class. He just is. Like there's not a lot of safeties in the league with his type of range. This guy is a true center fielder. Currently, their safeties at the time are Tony Jefferson, who I think starts to enter like where he gets often hurt. So the downslope. They have Eric Weddle, who kind of, again, another guy who's more of a veteran, like a real veteran guy at this point. You can kind of like start moving more towards the line of scrimmage. So let me grab that center fielder. The Baltimore, they love their safeties. They like to play 3 safety sets a lot, so let's do it. On to the Washington, whatever the hell you want to call them. I'm actually going to stick with who they drafted here. They're in Jonathan Allen. They're currently in a 3-4 front, so grabbing a guy that's very versatile in that regard, that can do, that can play kind of anywhere along that defensive line, is pretty valuable. And like straight up, Jonathan Allen's like a top 5 interior player in the league. Like I would say there's maybe like 2 or 3 guys that are just like on their own levels, and then Jonathan Allen's in that next tier. All right, this is our second pick for the Tennessee Titans. And I was looking at this saying, you know what? Let's make this a big defensive haul. Safeties, they took a minute to come off the board, but we just saw the first one come off the board at 16. Let's go ahead and get the next best safety for us. And I went with Jamal Adams. The guy's versatile. Like coverage, like he's not terrible, like he's not bad at coverage, don't get me wrong. It's just he's so versatile, it'd be a waste just to have him continually playing coverage. And to be honest, like there's better coverage safeties in this class, but it's just the versatility it gives you. You're gonna be pairing him up with Kevin Byard, who's currently there from I think the draft before. So a big defensive haul. TJ Watt, Jamal Adams, that's huge for the Titans. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was looking at this roster and I was like, man, this, like, they're desperate for some offensive line help. And I thought maybe Cam Robinson. It feels so early for Cam, though. I'm not the biggest Cam Robinson fan. And to be fair, I think they have something similar in Donovan Smith, who's actually played pretty darn well. They also have, Dotson at right tackle? So I figured I'll go to the interior. They have Ali Marpet currently playing center, but we know he eventually moves to left guard, where he's just a freaking monster. So this is actually where we're going to see a center. And I went with Chase Royer, who's low-key a top 5 center in the NFL. Get Jameis Winston that help. The Denver Broncos, another team desperately in need of offensive line help. And you got Cam Robinson, but the other guy, we're looking at him right here, Deion Dawkins, who ends up moving to left tackle and being pretty good for the Bills. So I'm going to go with that for the Broncos, because we do miss out on Garrett Bowles in this draft. So I'm going to go with Dawkins. It's a big fall off. Like him, Cam Robinson, then it's just a complete fall off. Like we're talking your next best guys like Storm Norton. So it's not great. All right, we're looking at the Detroit Lions, a team that you could go defense for. Like they need a lot of help, but I really liked the idea added another weapon, especially with this up-and-coming offensive line. Maybe give Matthew Stafford some reason to stay. I say some reason to stay. They ended up training him, but like you got Megatron. So at running back, it was kind of like a big mess there for the Lions. I think their starter was Amir Abdul. So I went with Alvin Kamara, just because what he can do. The dude could line up in the slot. He is a legit receiving threat. He creates after the catch. He creates. Period. Like, the dude's good. His forced missed tackles, up there. So I went with Kamara. Then the Miami Dolphins. The first thing that stuck out to me was how thin they were at safety. And then all the safeties they had on roster, none of them could actually play deep. Like, we're talking about, they had a Rashad Jones, who's more of a box guy anyway, but also in the later parts of his career. So I was like, what do we have in the way of rangy safeties? Like Malik Hooker, but come on, we could do better than that. Marcus May, very versatile, but like, again, I'm looking for this guy that is rangy as hell, and here he is in Eddie Jackson. Sign me up, Eddie Jackson, for the Dolphins. Very good safety class. And we're going to just keep hammering home safety because, honestly, this Giants team, I don't know how they finished with the 23rd pick, but look, it's easy to see why this team just started to nose tail after this season. Because keep in mind, it's in the 2018 draft where they end up drafting second overall. So, yeah, this is a bad team. So I was like, let's just get the best player available. And to me, at this point, it was Budda Baker. Give me some of that. Alrighty. This one's the Oakland Raiders at the time. Now Las Vegas, obviously. But they were Oakland. And they were under Jack Del Rio. They were playing a lot of zone. So I was like, okay, let's look at the corner position once more. Because, like, now you were into the second tier of corners. So it's like, who's a good zone-heavy corner? Like, okay, to be fair, Dory Jackson. Injuries kind of screw with him. But he's been pretty darn good when healthy. Chidobe Awuzie ends up being the pick, by the way. Spoiler alert. But we know as a very good zone-heavy corner, he ends up moving, okay, he's a solid cornerback too for the Cowboys. Ends up moving to the Bengals and just, wow. Dude had a hell of a season last year. But let's just go through some of the other guys. You got Witherspoon, Cameron Sutton. Obviously, Rasul Douglas, who was more of another guy who it took him coming off the Eagles to really emerge. Shaquille Griffin. Like, there's some guys here. Now, going to the Texans. This was another team. I looked at the secondary and like their starters, you got Jonathan Joseph, who's fine. Older, but fine. You have Kareem Jackson, who eventually moves to safety to basically play longer. And he ends up being good at that. But I think he doesn't do that till he goes to Denver. Then they have Kevin Johnson, who's actually ends up being a better slot guy. So I was like, okay, let's go with corner. And this is where I go Shaquille Griffin. He's been pretty good. On to the Seahawks. So we're not going to trade out like the Seahawks did. We're going to stick with this pick. And, oh, man, this one was a bit tough. But I ended up deciding on, because I think it was this offseason, they just lost Bruce Irvin. So I think grabbing a guy that could be that DPR, designated pass rusher, and do it at a very high level would be, and I think he's listed at linebacker actually, Hassan Reddick. Like, it took the Cardinals a couple of seasons to figure out, okay, this is what he's going to do. This is what he's great at. We're not going to, no. Now we know in hindsight, and he's going to be utilized like that here in Seattle. So we're going with him. On to the Chiefs. So this is when injuries start to occur for Eric Berry, and they have no one behind them. So I was like, well, this is a good safety class. Let's invest in safety. And I was like, okay, who gives us a lot of versatility? You can make a case for Peppers, but I think Marcus May is the guy here. Grab a guy who We could do a lot of different things in that secondary. And then the Dallas Cowboys. And the first thing I noticed was like, ooh, this receiving core is about to take a hit. Really is. They have yet to trade for Amari Cooper. And there's no CeeDee Lamb to be found. I think it's Michael Gallup they end up getting in 2018. Right now they have literally, this is Dez Bryant's last season with the squad. So let's go ahead. Let's see what we could get at receiver. And you see a couple of names like, okay, you got Corey Davis, you got Curtis Samuel, Juju, but those are more slot guys. Like, it's got to be maybe something better along the lines of what we're looking at. And there is. He's somewhere here. There he is. I was like, I did not pass him. Kenny Golladay. We're going to go ahead and snag Kenny Golladay for the Cowboys. All right, on to the Packers. And this one, I just want to cut to the sneaking chase. Again, good safety class, but the good safeties are starting to fly off the board. And I'm like, let's go ahead, because this team does not have Adrian Amos yet. Adrian Amos still with the Bears. So let's grab a Adrian Amos-like safety. That way you don't have to acquire him in 2019. And we're going to grab John Johnson. Very good safety. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Corner position sucks. It's really bad for the Steelers. I think the best player they got there is like William Gay. So let's go ahead. Let's grab a corner. And this is where I'm going to take my boy Adoree Jackson. He gives you also return capability, though you have AB at this time, so. But I like Adoree Jackson. He's been pretty good last few seasons. Now that he's been able to stay healthier, I should say. Okay, we are sitting here with the Atlanta Falcons. And if there's something that has been consistent for the Falcons for the past like 5 years, their pass rush sucks. Their best pass rusher, Vic Beasley, they're kind of moving to like also a more versatile role. It's like an off coverage linebacker, but also a guy they'll bring in. Like, it gets messy with Vic Beasley, so much so that they eventually release him. I don't think they trade him to the Titans. I can't remember. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to go with pass rush. I'm going to actually stay away from Carl Lawson because in hindsight with the injuries and everything. And I'm going to go with Trey Hendrickson. All right. Now, the New Orleans Saints. You missed out on a lot. Like, Trey Hendrickson, gone. Who else? Who else is on this? Alvin Kamara, gone. Marcus Williams, gone. Marshawn Lattimore, gone. Ryan Ramczyk was gone way long ago. So, like, what? 5 players the Saints acquired have gone in this draft? That's wild. What a draft class. So you know what? When it came to the Saints, I ended up being petty. Petty and greedy. I was like, I don't like that we lost Alvin Kamara and how much he really meant to this squad. I want to grab a guy who could make a similar impact. I didn't go with CMC. You would think I might, but injuries have been really bad for him recently. Instead, I ended up going with Kareem Hunt. You can make an argument, and you might be like, yo, Broshmo, that's crazy. You went with 3 running backs in the first round. What's wrong with you? First off, this was a good running back class. Second off, like, hey, in hindsight, like, I'm trying to stay true and draft, like, good players, and, like, there is a drop-off of good players. Like, what, am I going to draft Cam Robinson for the Saints? I don't want to. I'm going with Hunt. So let's save this sucker so we can take a nice look at it. So you let me know what you think in the comment section below, but this is the redraft. And I think it looks good. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hot opinions. I'm curious to see. Because, like, Chris Godwin always gets a lot of hate. A lot of people don't like that I like Chris Godwin. I will admit, I got greedy for the Saints. I added a tight end and a running back. Don't know what the hell I'm doing with that. But It is what it is. To be fair, when I did this redraft, I grabbed Kittle without knowing I was going to get a running back at 32. But no, overall, I actually really liked how like Dalvin Cook at 14 did feel rich. Like after I got done, I was like, maybe I should have went with safety. Kind of is what it is. But yeah, no, overall, I really, really like this redraft. You let me know in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.